101 states and international organizations are now at the summit, and this is a tremendous success, our success, the common success of all those who believe that a united world, United Nations are stronger than any aggressor.
But we must speak truth. He is not calling for negotiations, he is calling for surrender. America stands with Ukraine.
There is a long path ahead of us. We are under no illusion that we will reach a conclusive understanding at this summit. But we can come closer.
All of us are committed to build a sustainable peace. And as it was mentioned by several of you, such a peace could not be a Ukrainian capitulation.
The road to fair and lasting peace is starting now. And with the formula for peace and this decisive summit, the road ahead will be unstoppable.
And we should ask, why does Russia feel that they are so threatened by a summit discussing the basic principles of territorial integrity, food security, and nuclear safety?
That Ukraine actually starts this path towards peace from a position of strength, much stronger than what it was 3 weeks ago, let alone 3 months ago.
And it is both an honor and a duty for all of us, the leaders from around the world, to stand united.
It's about principles and it's about survival.
If Russia stops fighting, the war is over. If Ukraine stops fighting, that's the end of Ukraine.
One of the messages from my country read, learn from Sarajevo, save Kyiv.
Defending Ukraine means defending that system of rules that holds the international community together and protects every nation.
That this peace cannot be a result of Ukrainian capitulation. And that is why Greece, with many other countries, will continue to support Ukraine to defend itself.
We have also sought to provide Ukraine critical humanitarian assistance to alleviate the suffering of the Ukrainian people. These principles reflect the kingdom's long-standing position.
Ukraine holds the same rights to its territorial integrity and sovereignty as the rest of us.
Does anyone here at this table believe that giving up parts of your countries can truly bring about lasting peace?
Therefore, there are differences between peace and peace. The peace that Croatia can advocate will never be the peace where the victim should capitulate and get rid of its own territory.
No country wants peace more than Ukraine. But let us be honest, peace is more than the absence of war.
Some are also hoping now that territorial concessions to the aggressor would bring peace. This logic echoes the appeasement policies of the 1930s.
Freezing the conflict today with foreign troops occupying Ukrainian land is not an answer. In fact, it is a recipe for future wars of aggression.
We are here together today with one shared objective in mind. We all hope for peace to be restored in Ukraine as soon as possible.
I believe it is an important step for us from Argentina to have first been at the G7 summit and to now be here at this peace summit. It is part of the major change we are making as a country after decades of turning our back on the world.
We need Russia to participate. But the strong message of today is that peace is only possible if Russia abides by the basic rules and values which apply to all of us.
The Russian aggression against Ukraine has reminded everyone in my country of two things. First, of the horrendous and unimaginable suffering that the war brings. And second, that now it is our turn to give back.
Timor-Leste profoundly understands the suffering faced by the Ukrainian people as a result of the ongoing conflict. We also experienced the invasion and occupation, and our people still carry the haunting memories of the war.
Russia remains the largest colonial empire in a world which, unlike European powers, has never undergone the process of decolonization.
Before Bucha, there was Abkhazia. And yes, before the war against Ukraine, there was a war against Georgia.
Remember this.
Putin will not stop at Ukraine. And I say this with some weight, having Russia as a neighbor.
Norway, like Finland and like Estonia, are bordering Russia. So we have a neighbor that has really major way attacked another neighbor.
This full-scale war is more than an attack on the security of Europe, on the idea of Europe. This is an attempt to drag us all back to a darker past.
We are concerned about the risk of further escalation and the resulting strain on the international order.
We are already seeing deepening fault lines and fueling polarization at global levels.
Today, a farmer in Kenya, in rural Kenya actually, knows there is war in Ukraine for two reasons. Number one, he paid more for his fertilizer, and number two, his fertilizer came late.
The ripple effects of the Russia-Ukraine conflict have reached far and wide, disrupting global trade, destabilizing markets, and exacerbating economic hardships for millions and millions of people. The African continent has been particularly hard hit.
That a peaceful solution is achievable. So let us not underestimate the transformative power of dialogue and cooperation.
Mexico is here to reiterate its long-standing commitment with all the fundamental principles of the UN Charter.
We have been vocal, expressing our non-recognition of the instruments of annexation of the territory occupied.
It cannot annex the territory of other country by force. Food is not a weapon. Nuclear threats are unacceptable.
Diplomacy and international law are the only legitimate means for resolving disputes.
War is always destructive. To remain silent in front of the cruelty of war is a shame.
I saw the horror of the worst hours. I saw people fleeing, and I think that those memories will be with me throughout the whole life.
While looking towards a peaceful future, we should not lose sight of the suffering brought on by a war.
The reunification of minors with their families or legal guardians must be a paramount concern for all parties.
There will be no lasting and sustainable peace without ensuring justice.
I look forward to the discussions that will result from this summit in the coming days and to exploring suitable mechanisms.
Our challenge is monumental: to develop a framework for a future peace agreement between Ukraine and Russia.
We have a special responsibility and we have a common interest to support a solution to the war in Ukraine, a comprehensive, just and lasting peace for Ukraine. And by being here today, we have taken that responsibility upon us.
Ukraine must survive.
We have gathered here in Switzerland to help Ukraine navigate the road from unjust war to a just peace.
I truly hope that today's summit will pave the way for a meaningful dialogue on a results-oriented platform that will eventually set a path towards a comprehensive peace.
This summit has done is define what the core character, the core foundation of that just peace looks like.
Many voices during this meeting have stressed the need to adhere to the principles of the UN Charter. These principles are as valid today as they were in 1945.
Together, we are stronger.
This is how we protect each other. This is how we protect future generations. This is how we keep the world on the right track. Slava Ukraini, Heroyam Slava, glory to Ukraine, glory to its heroes.
Our unity here proves that the very idea of international law remains alive and effective. Your presence here proves that the UN Charter and the basic conventions are not a formality, but the real foundations of coexistence among peoples.